I wonder how long it will take for me to be able to buy my own vehicle. Taking the train can be frustrating at times. I thought becoming a Christian would make my life easier, but it seems trials are now coming one behind the other. Since I got baptized 3 months ago, most of my friends have abandoned me, even some family members. Oh Father in heaven, please send someone my way that can be an encouragement to me today. I feel so discouraged in my Christian walk. Good morning, sir. I would like to buy a train ticket to Valley Junction, please.
Good morning, madam. No problem. That will cost $5.
Thank you, sir. Good day, madam. Is this seat taken? No, dear. Please sit. Thank you. Hello, dear. I don't mean to disturb, but do you attend the Holy Ebenezer Church in Scottstown? Yes, I do. Oh, how nice. You are one of the new converts, if I remember correctly. You can call me Sister Johnson. Yes, I am new to the church. My name is Hannah. It's nice to meet you, dear. How has your new walk with the Lord been? It's nice to meet you, Sister Johnson. My walk has not been so easy, but I'm holding on. I understand. Do you want to talk about it? I'm struggling. It feels like God isn't listening anymore. I've been praying, pleading for some kind of sign or comfort, but all I feel is nothing. Silence. It's like He's abandoned me, and to add to it, some friends and family have also abandoned me. That silence is familiar. I've been there too. You're feeling forsaken, but do you really believe He's abandoned you? I don't know. I mean, we're taught that God is always with us, that He's close to the brokenhearted. But right now, I don't feel His presence at all. It's like I'm shouting into an empty void. I've never felt so distant from Him. I've felt that same void. It's terrifying, isn't it? You start to question everything, your faith, your prayers, even your worth. But, Hannah, what if I told you that this feeling, this distance, could be part of a greater spiritual plan? A plan? I'm barely holding on here. How could this be part of any plan? Think about it for a second. What if God's silence isn't abandonment, but rather an invitation to go deeper? You know, sometimes when we're in that place of desolation, God is giving us the opportunity to strengthen our spiritual life in ways we can't yet see. But why would God choose to be silent? I mean, if He loves me, wouldn't He comfort me? Why allow me to feel so lost, so alone? That's a question we all ask at some point. But what if God is doing something in the silence that words can't? Have you ever thought that maybe, just maybe, He's building you up for something greater, something that requires a stronger, more resilient faith? I hear what you're saying, but it still feels cruel. It's hard to see this as some sort of preparation when I'm in the thick of it. It's like I'm drowning, and instead of throwing me a lifeline, God's letting me tread water. I get that. It does feel like that, especially in the darkest moments. I remember when I went through something similar. I was praying constantly, reading scripture, trying to do everything right. But all I got in return was emptiness. I started to think that maybe I wasn't good enough, that somehow, I had failed God. Exactly. That's what I've been thinking. What if I'm not praying hard enough? Or maybe I'm not worthy of His attention? That's what I thought too. But then something changed. I realized that God wasn't silent because I was unworthy. He was silent because He was teaching me to trust Him in a different way, without the constant reassurances I was used to. I had to learn to believe, even when I couldn't feel or see His presence. But how did you get through that? How did you keep believing when it felt like you were on your own? It wasn't easy. I wrestled with God, cried out in frustration, just like you're now. But over time, I realized that God's silence wasn't a rejection. It was a call to deeper faith. Think about it, Sarah, if God answered every prayer immediately or gave us constant feelings of His presence, would we ever learn to trust Him in the hard times? I guess I never thought about it like that. But what do you do in the meantime? How do you stay strong when it feels like everything's falling apart? That's where the real work happens. It's in those moments of silence that we find out what our faith is really made of. You lean into His promises, even when you don't feel them. You hold on to scriptures like Hebrews 13:5. I will never leave you nor forsake you, even when it feels like He's a million miles away. And you keep going. You keep praying, you keep seeking Him, even if all you get is more silence. But how long can you do that? What if the silence lasts forever? Hannah, God's silence isn't forever. Think of it like the wilderness the Israelites wandered through. It felt endless to them, but it wasn't. They were being prepared for something greater. Sometimes, the silence lasts longer than we want, but that's because the lesson isn't finished yet. He's refining you. He's drawing you closer, even though it feels like He's far. It's hard to see this as refining when it feels like punishment. That's a common feeling. We often mistake silence for punishment because we equate God's love with Him answering us the way we expect. But His love is so much bigger than that. In fact, sometimes His silence is the greatest act of love, because it pushes us to rely on Him in ways we wouldn't if things were easy. You really believe that? That this emptiness is part of His love? Absolutely. Think about when you teach a child to walk. You can't hold their hand forever, right? At some point, you have to let go, even if they stumble. It's not because you don't care, but because you know they need to learn to walk on their own. God sometimes steps back a little, not to abandon us, but to let us learn to stand in faith. That makes sense, I guess. But I just feel so lost. Being lost isn't the same as being abandoned. Think about the parable of the lost sheep. The shepherd leaves the 99 to find the one. Even when we feel lost, God is still seeking us, still watching over us. The problem is, we focus so much on the feeling of being lost that we forget the shepherd is still there, searching for us. But if He's searching, why does it feel like He's taking so long? Patience is part of the journey, Sarah. Sometimes the waiting, the silence, is where we learn the most. We learn to trust His timing, not our own. And that's hard because we want answers now. But God sees the bigger picture. He knows what we need to go through to become the person He's shaping us to be. So, you're saying I need to trust that God is doing something, even when I can't see it? Exactly. Faith isn't just about believing when everything is going well. It's about trusting Him in the dark, in the silence. This is your time to lean into that trust, to hold on to His promises even when they seem distant. I want to believe that. I really do. But I'm scared, Rebecca. What if I never feel His presence again? Hannah, feelings come and go, but God's presence isn't tied to our emotions. He's always there, whether we feel it or not. That's why faith is so crucial. It's believing in His presence, even when you can't feel it. It's knowing that He's working in the silence, preparing you for something greater. I've been so focused on trying to feel Him that I forgot to just trust Him. It's a common struggle. But this season of silence, it's not the end. It's a chapter in your journey. And when you come out on the other side, you'll see just how strong your faith has become. You're not alone in this. God's with you, even now, shaping you for the next step in your spiritual life. Thank you, Sister Johnson. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'll try to hold on to that. I'll try to trust that He's working, even in the silence. That's all you need to do. Trust and keep moving forward. God hasn't abandoned you. He's just preparing you for something you can't see yet. Thank you once again. I am getting to my stop. We shall see in church, this coming Sabbath. Have a blessed day, sis. Oh yes, we shall meet. See you, Hannah.
Hannah felt so blessed by the conversation that a form of joy filled her up. She looked at life in a different manner, causing her faith and trust in God to grow. As the months passed by, she started feeling the presence of God in her life more and more, and this led to great positive changes to take place. Hi everyone, thanks for watching.